Welcome to NTN Nightly. I am Janelle Norville. This edition's top stories. The Department of Physical Planning reassures public access to all beaches on the island. St. Lucia's Prime Minister continues to advocate internationally for COVID-19 testing. And scores of students in Education District 2 receive their annual back-to-school supplies. The Department of Physical Planning has addressed public concern regarding the approval granted to Cabot St. Lucia Inc. by way of the Cabinet of Ministers. In outlining the sequence of events, the department informed that in 2019, the Department of Physical Planning received a request by Cabot for the extension of existing Queen's Chain leasehold agreements, presently held by way of sub-leasehold agreements, as well as 4 new 99-year emphyteutic leasehold agreements over Queen's Chain properties, including block and parcel number 1657B2, a public beach also known as Secret Beach. Other block and parcels were also requested for the trenching of utility service cables. The Department of Physical Planning assessed the request and submitted its findings and recommendations to the Cabinet of Ministers for their consideration. A memo was returned to the Department for Restructuring and Correction. A new memorandum regarding Cabot's request was prepared and submitted to Cabinet by the Department of Physical Planning. That memo only requested consideration for the extension of the existing leases which Cabot already has. Cabinet, by conclusion number 957, dated 20th July 2020, approved the grant of a 75-year lease to Cabot for the Queen's Chain properties, block and parcels number 1657B, 1345, and block and parcel number 1658B, 12, on conditions to be formulated by the Department of Physical Planning and approved by Cabinet. The department says this renewal of lease does not include the adjacent beaches, Donkey, Secret, Casaba beaches, etc., extensively used by St. Lucians and visitors to the island for sea bathing, beach picnics, walking, hiking, camping, fishing, horseback riding, restaurants and bars, including Marjorie's Beach Restaurant and Bar. All beaches, the department emphasizes, remain public. Prime Minister the Honorable Alan Chastanet, who is serving as CARICOM's point man on protocols for the opening of the tourism sector, the leading economic sector in the Caribbean, has applauded the region for its general quick response to the pandemic and the management of the pandemic so far. Prime Minister Chastanet heaped the praise during an interview with Cheddar, a leading post-cable news, media and entertainment company. Cheddar is watched live by more than 6.5 million people each month. Honorable Chastanet spoke about the success of the pre-testing requirement for travelers to St. Lucia and the partnerships which needed to be developed within the travel industry to curtail the spread of COVID-19.
We started extremely early in reacting to the virus, and I'm very happy to say that we've only had 25 cases to date, and we've not had anyone die from corona. We've also recently opened up our island to international travel, and we've started on July 9th receiving Americans here into St. Lucia.
Talk to me a bit about the regulations that you have put in place, you hope to continue to put in place, specifically as it pertains to the major airlines. I mean, that is the avenue by which Americans and people from all over the world get to visit your beautiful, your incredible country. What are you hoping for with regards to increased testing, and what can people expect, say, if they do want to book a trip to St. Lucia?
Well, I'm very lucky. I used to be an airline executive myself. I was the senior vice president worldwide for Air Jamaica. And I happened to also be around when we had, unfortunately, 9/11. So there was some experience that I had on dealing with the protocols. So St. Lucia from very early understood that a significant protocol was pre-testing. To cause persons to travel to St. Lucia or to anywhere in the Caribbean and testing them on arrival would create way too many problems. And what happens if they test positive when they got down here? We can't send them back to the United States of America, and they would have to quarantine in St. Lucia. And certainly nobody wants to come on vacation and end up being in quarantine for 2 weeks. So pre-testing is critical, and that was a fundamental part of our protocols. And once the persons arrived into St. Lucia, what we did in the initial stage was to cause them to be inspected at the hotel, at the airport, temperature testing and a quick interview, and then expedited to the hotels. And the hotels that we have, luckily, are all inclusives, and that their stay would be in that hotel. We would have limited experiences in the destination during phase one of the program. So as I said, we've started up since July 9th. We've had over 4,000 arrivals coming into the destination, and not one person has tested positive once they've been on the island.
To date, 4,373 COVID-19 tests have been carried out in St. Lucia. Despite the devastating effects of the COVID-19 pandemic, the government of St. Lucia remains focused on achieving the targets established under the Medium-Term Development Strategy, MTDS. A stocktake or assessment exercise was conducted with key line ministries by the Project Management and Delivery Unit to monitor progress and actions taken to achieve the specific targets outlined in the MTDS.
The Performance Management and Delivery Unit, PMDU, in the Office of the Prime Minister, established in 2019, has the expressed mandate of ensuring targets established under the Medium-Term Development Strategy are ultimately achieved. Director of the Performance Management Unit, Sharon Gardner-Hippolyte, said for the next 2 years, the unit will be laser-focused on monitoring the achievements of those targets spread across 6 key ministries.
We assist the ministries, we support them, we facilitate what has to be done. If there are challenges, we again assist them in resolving those challenges. And if it is that the challenge can only be resolved because of the assistance by the Prime Minister, then we are that direct line to make sure that the challenge is resolved as quickly as possible.
On August 7th, the PMDU alongside the Prime Minister conducted a stocktake exercise of the various ministries, reviewing their progress and stages of implementation in relation to their various targets.
In 2018, the ministries embarked on an activity that allowed for them to look at what are their main priorities, what do they want to focus on, and what are the targets for those priorities for the next 4 years. This all culminated in the medium-term strategy development program, and right now what we are doing is that every 3 months we come before the Prime Minister and we evaluate where we are in relation to those priorities. Are we on target? Are we focusing in the right areas? What are we doing to problem solve our challenges, and how are we getting back on track in relation to our priorities and our targets if we have fallen off of track.
Our cameras captured the presentation of the Ministry of Health and Wellness, one of the 6 key ministries integral to the stocktake exercise. The PMDU director noted that the assessment of the key ministries were very decent, taking into account the financial challenges brought about by the COVID-19 pandemic.
Some of the positive things coming out of the stocktake today that I can speak about is that in relation to our hypertension and diabetes, we had 51% of persons coming in for amputation in comparison to our previous year. So that's a great drop. In relation to crime, our target for this year is to be 15% below 2018 figures, and we are currently at 6.9%. So in terms of our mid-year review, we are tracking well towards that target. Last week, our figure, we track it weekly, our figure in relation to crime was at 8.7%.
She added that the focus is on simultaneously driving the social and economic policies under the Medium-Term Development Strategy, which in turn should have a positive impact on national productivity.
One of the fantastic projects that I like to think of that does both is, for example, in education. We now have a project under TVET that was funded by the World Bank that's essentially going to be upskilling our TVET certification and ensuring that more persons move towards certification and completion as opposed to just enrollment and getting the courses. Also looking to add value in some of the areas. We also got another set of funding from the 11th EDF so that way we can again increase our offerings in relation to TVET in St. Lucia.
The 6 key areas being focused on in the MTDS are agriculture, infrastructure, tourism, health, education, and citizen security. For the National Competitiveness and Productivity Council, Glenn Simon reporting.
Meantime, the Ministry of Tourism continues to provide support to stakeholders as the tourism sector reopens. With protocols already established in the tourism taxi subsector, officials are now working with the car rental sector. Here's Miguel Morissette.
Permanent Secretary in the Ministry of Tourism, Donalyn Vite, stated that the ministry is doing everything within its power to ensure no sector is left behind during these unprecedented times. Appearing on the August 11 televised discussion to update the country on the national COVID-19 response, Vite addressed the situation with the car rental sector, which has been negatively impacted.
But understanding that the car rental sector is a group that has been marginalized, the ministry has ensured that we're promoting the bubblecation and the staycation. We know locals are renting, but more so the bubblecation, so they could patronize the alternative accommodation like the villas, the condos, and the apartments, as well as to use the services of car rental companies.
The Permanent Secretary also noted that international visitors who have been given the all-clear after completing the 14-day quarantine period at the certified quarantine facility are qualified to rent a vehicle and are free to roam.
Quite a bit of them have been opting to stay the course of the 14 days at the COVID-certified hotel and then indicating they wish to move into a villa or an apartment or bed and breakfast where they could move around freely like the regular St. Lucian or visitors from the bubble. To be able to build the confidence of the public, what we have been doing is having health clear them. It's almost as if you cleared from a quarantine facility and they've been given a letter with the stamp of the Ministry of Health and signature.
The Ministry of Tourism is working to return livelihoods while maintaining a safe St. Lucia. From the Government Information Service, Miguel Morissette reporting.
Scores of students in Education District 2 have received school supplies as they return to the classroom for the new academic year. Anicia Antoine tells us more.
The parliamentary representative for Grosley, Honorable Leonard Montoute, has donated school supplies to the public elementary schools in District 2. The annual initiative, which commenced in 2007, included a donation of 10,000 notebooks, school bags, lunch kits, and other school supplies. Honorable Montoute expressed hope that the donation will ease the burden on parents who are currently preparing for their children to return to school.
I am pleased to say that this year, given the situation with COVID, there were periods when some of you had to work at home and you required devices. The requests started coming to my constituency office from parents and students who did not have a tablet or laptop or any kind of device. Some people didn't even have a phone. Some people had to work from a phone. And so people came to my constituency office for assistance. We have given out quite a number of tablets to various students and parents for the students. However, in today's presentation, we are going to be giving out a few more tablets to the Grosley Infant and Primary, the Moshi Combined, and the Grand Riviere Combined schools. What we are doing, like the backpacks, we are going to be presenting 20 tablets to each of the schools that the principal and teachers will determine who are the students that are most deserving of those electronic devices, and they will be passing them on to those students to assist them in carrying out their work.
Honorable Montoute noted that the Coram Secondary School and the Sports Academy will also be receiving a quantity of notebooks. Principals and parents of the students were on hand to receive their quota of school supplies. Grand Riviere Primary School's principal, Julietta Charles, expressed gratitude to the parliamentary representative for his generous donation.
You have delivered even much earlier than previous years. And more so, you have also provided us with the devices, and you know how important it is for digital learning. Also, you've donated our backpacks, then you've also given us lunch boxes. What else you said? and other school supplies. This is a generous donation, parents, and I really want to take this opportunity on your behalf to thank the district rep, but we must not forget his team because he could not have done it alone. So once again, on behalf of all 3 schools in your district, in your constituency, I really want to extend heartfelt thanks.
The handing over ceremony of the donation of school supplies took place on Thursday, August 13, 2020, at the Grosley Human Resource Development Center. From the Government Information Service, I am Anicia Antoine reporting.
The Elder Care Unit of the Division of Human Services is celebrating the birthday of one of our most senior nationals, Miss Octavie Augustine of Morgouche-Roselle. Miss Augustine was born on the 14th of August 1912 and is today 108 years young. Miss Augustine, though married from an early age, lost her husband early on and never bore any biological children. However, she raised and made significant impact in the lives of many persons from the community. Relatives say she is very much conscious of the aesthetics and loves to dress up in pretty clothes and fancy earrings. Miss Augustine is quite coherent, spirited, and articulate, with an amazing sense of humor. Medically, her major challenges are with her eyesight and hearing. We at the GIS NTN join in the national shout-out to Miss Octavie Augustine on her 108th birthday. This is NTN Nightly. Up next, Primus Hutchinson with the NTN Nouvelle, a Creole.
COVID-19 is a new pandemic disease as declared by the World Health Organization. It is transmitted directly by respiratory droplets when an infected person coughs or sneezes, or indirectly through rubbing the face with contaminated hands. There is still no specific treatment or vaccine against COVID-19, and as such, the farming community should adhere to some special recommendations. Reduce your farm labor to only essential workers. Ensure regular hand washing with soap and water, or use 60% to 95% alcohol-based hand sanitizer until soap and water are available. Clean all work surfaces and farm tools such as cutlasses, forks, and sprayers with a 10% bleach solution. Ensure that toilets are cleaned thoroughly after each use and sanitized daily. Prohibit visitors to the farms. Limit contact among farm workers and promote social distances, ensuring 6 feet between each worker, and promote a no handshaking or unnecessary touch policy. More than ever before, your important role as the gatekeepers of St. Lucia's nutritional health and food security should be taken seriously. When you exercise these precautions, you not only safeguard your health, but also continue to allow all St. Lucians access to freshly grown fruits, vegetables, and other local crops. Remember, it is our responsibility to ensure our nation eats fresh, St. Lucia's best.
Welcome back. We now join Primus Hutchinson for the NTN Nouvelle, a Creole.
Monsieur Janelle, Monsieur Mesdames Département qui est responsabilité pour information en gouvernement cette Lucie GIS et télévision nationale pays NTN caposato Nouvelle en Creole. Presato Primus Hutchinson. Représentatif Parlement pour Gozili, honorable Leonard Montout, te encore chaîne cérémonie plus bonne à semaine là pour faire available pour les étudiants et les parents à ces différents parents qui ont représenté plusieurs nécessités l'école. Représentatif Gozili a remarqué qu'en tout thème qui servi comme représentatif, il a honoré commitment pour faire assurer que les étudiants et les parents à ces parents là trouver ces nécessités l'école avant saison l'école la vie ouverte. Parmi ces articles l'école, c'est-à-dire c'était 10 000 notebooks, ça veut dire livres pour enregistrer les sur l'école. Ça c'est après c'est 4 qui étaient déjà bail avant ça. C'est 4 aussi bagues l'école pour chaque école, bagues pour manger pour tes enfants l'école et aussi pour yo qui en premier grade. C'est-à-dire aussi trouver rollers, pens, cléons, en parmi plusieurs autres. Si l'on représentatif tout, ils savent de quoi pèse l'économie ni à sur les parents, particulièrement dans une situation de maladie corona. Et présentation ça là, c'est pour aider soulager pèse ça là à sur deux les parents comme saison l'école là qui vit ouvert. C'est l'école là qui recevait ces donations ça là, c'était l'école première avec 10 enfants à Gozile, l'école petit fille garçon à Monchi et aussi à Grand-Rivière. Représentatif moi tout dit que c'est notre book ça là qui suffit pour ces étudiants servis pour tout durant saison l'école. Gouvernement Saint-Lucie qui a continué pour renforcer les relations et puis les Saint-Luciens qui habitent dans les autres pays en la terre. Relation ça là qui a suivi pour continuer à embrasser Saint-Lucie qui l'autre pays, Saint-Lucien qui l'autre pays pour poursuivre plus haut support et pour aussi faciliter encore plus contribution pour le développement national. Ce développement ça là qui a manifesté en façon d'investissement en divers l'État touristique et divers autres initiatives. Les Saint-Luciens toujours qu'à jouer un rôle qui est très important en développement pays Saint-Lucie. Et qu'au résultat des maladies corona, le gouvernement a encore crié à ce qui n'y désire pour aider et assister le pays à développer, particulièrement en bas maladie corona. C'est l'occasion pour Saint-Lucien qui est l'autre pays pour longer la main charitable pour aider le pays Saint-Lucie continuer pour sortir en bas force maladie ça là. Alors, tout Saint-Lucien en l'autre pays qui n'y expérience, qui n'y l'âge et bon l'État en bas la main parce que yo pas à mettre un prix à cette contribution pour payer cette Lucie, ça c'est service là qui cette Lucie ça fait. Chef de division qui est responsable pour adresser des affaires de cette Lucie à l'autre pays, c'est ambassadeur Joycelyn Fletcher, toujours paré avec le commitment pour protéger et poursuivre toute assistance pour aider ça a fait contribution pour ressusciter le développement économique cette Lucie. Yo qui ni désir pour assister cette Lucie, ça fait contact et puis ambassadeur Joycelyn Fletcher. Ministre qui a responsabilité pour le développement économique, honorable Guy Joseph, qui a avoué que les institutions financières pays pour poursuivre plus d'assistance, particulièrement pour les jeunes qui ont voulu acheter propriétaire. Durant la cérémonie, pour marcher placement, pour commencer le projet, pour bâtir en la fague à choisir, des semaines qui passent, honorable Joseph fait situation ça là pour les institutions financières considérer direction ça là comme valeur terre toujours qu'après un mouton et prendre des soldats.
Nous encourager ces banques là et ces différents monde pour ça travail avec ces monde Saint-Lucie qui kay vini garder pour un loan pour yo ça acheter ces choter ça et pour coopérer avec yo pas demander yo tant bail comme traiter même comme motocar et bail yo un loan plus vite que possible depuis yo moutoué date yo kay ça fait paiement à vie et manière ça pays nous kay développer trop plus.
Monsieur madame, ça c'est côté notre bout nouvelle là. Moi merci autant pour garder. Moi avoir une invitation. Je ne puis moi conserver la vie. D'engager pour cette autre nouvelle en créole. Je moi souhaiter tout le monde un bon finissement de semaine et pour faire changer qui nous en saison côté monde qui a trouvé maladie dengue. Alors quand saison la pluie toujours couvert dromou, couvert toute bagaille qui cache de l'eau pour empêcher ces mingres ça la prendre et pour pas vivre maladie ça là. Et ça c'est côté notre bout nouvelle là. Moi merci autant et quand vidéo prochaine depuis moi encore l'année pour cette autre nouvelle à créole. Mon vieux présenter Janelle.
Merci, Pearl Primus. And that brings us to the end of NTN Nightly. Join us next time at 7 p.m. with a repeat at 7 a.m. You can also catch up with us anytime on the St. Lucia Government Facebook page or YouTube channel. I am Donald Norvell.